graphing radicals. Well, like I always try to show you in the beginning so you don't think I'm just making this up, square root of x. If you want to graph it, remember how to graph any graph without knowing what it looks like. Plug in some points and see what happens. So if I plug in 0, square root of 0, 0. Let's plug in 1. Square root of 1, 1. Square root of 2 is a decimal, so let's try 4. Square root of 4, 2. Now let's try to do negative 1. Square root of negative 1, up, I. So we can't plug in negatives. So 0, 0, 1, 1, 4, 2. So notice how the graph just kind of swoops. Well, from now on, when you're encountered by square root, and you're doing it for me, you can just rough sketch it. There you go. So like if I said square root of x plus 2, well, if I just said square root of x, you would do your swoop, but plus 2. Now remember, if it's on the end, just like with square roots and absolute values and parabolas and every graph, when you translate it, if it's on the end, you always do as is, up or down. So it's still your square root, but you're just going to go up 2 and do your square root. If you have something like, let's say, x minus 4, remember if it's with the x, you always do the opposite, or in other words, what makes it 0. So what makes this 0 is positive 4 square root. Let's say I had square root of x plus 3 minus 1. We'll go ahead and do it all. So what makes that 0? Negative 3, as is, down 1, square root. Okay, let's put a negative out front. Negative square root of x minus 2. Well, I know, go down 2. The only difference is, instead of going like this, since it's negative, you're going to go below. If I had square root of, I don't know, x minus 2, like that, you would just, what makes it 0, write 2, and let's put a negative out front, go below. Now I know some of you are thinking, well, it's always going to the right. What would make it go to the left? If you have square root of a negative x inside, nothing with it to make it differ from 0, nothing added on the end, and it's going to go to the x, or left rather. So if I said square root of 5 minus x, what makes this 0? Positive 5. But since the x is negative, to the left. And of course, if you have a negative square root of negative x, that's when it's going to go down. Now, the good news is, in Algebra 1, we really don't get to the weird ones. We just do some basic ones, especially this year with the virus, coronavirus going. We would get more in details if we were able to be in a normal classroom setting. Now, I did want to show you one more thing real quick. Cube root. Now, cube root of x, just to show you the general shape, let's plug in. So, cube root of 0, cube root of 1, cube root of 2 is a decimal. The next one would be cube root of 8, which is 2. Cube root of negative 1, negative 1. Cube root of negative 8, negative 2. So notice what's happening. 0, 0, 1, 1, way over here, 8, 2. But then negative 1, negative 1, negative 8, negative 2. So a cube root makes a nice little squiggle. So from now on, if you're doing just cube root of x, and for me, you're just doing rough sketches, there you go. So if you were doing cube root of x minus 4, at the origin, you'd go down 4 and do swoop, swoop. If you were doing cube root of x plus 2, what makes this 0 negative 2? Up and down. Negative cube root, like normal, is going to do the opposite. So instead of being in these two regions, it's going to be in those two. Because it's going to reflect it below, that's going to reflect above. Now just a little bit for especially the higher levels, not like I said this year with Algebra 1, but maybe in other years in Algebra and other classes, domain and range. The good news about odd functions, domain and range can be anything it wants. So it's all real for both. But let's say your traditional square root of x, your domain is x is greater than or equal to 0. The range, greater than or equal to 0. If you had one that looked like this, domain, or x, starts with 3, so x is greater than or equal to 3. The range y is greater than or equal to 1. And of course, if it's going to the left, let's even say we're going to go up to, but go to the left. The domain, what x is 0 to the left. So x is less than or equal to 0. The range is here at 2 and everything above. So y is greater than or equal to 2. Well, thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day.